What's going on, everybody? Nick Whalen, Alex Barutha here for RotoWire. Hope you had a good holiday, a good new year. We are finally back on a fairly normal NBA schedule and going to give you some waiver wire options as we look to the week ahead. For that week, Alex, busy week throughout the NBA. We got 18 teams playing 4 games with the week starting on Monday. We have 11 teams playing 3 games. That means there's one outlier, the Phoenix Suns, on a 5-game week. So get your Suns in the lineup if you're in a weekly lineup league. And I know you had some other schedule notes, including the Utah Jazz, who have a busy schedule coming up.
Yeah, if you're playing a daily league and you can make pickups, let's say this Saturday, the Jazz from this Saturday through next Sunday play 6 times. They play Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, which is a really packed schedule. So make sure Jordan Clarkson is not available in your league. Otherwise, he's about the best pickup you can make there. Everyone else, unfortunately, is a little bit inconsistent on that roster.
Yeah, I don't know if Mike Breen plays fantasy basketball. If he does, I don't think he's picking up Jordan Clarkson. There's a great clip going around over the weekend from the Knicks Jazz game. Mike Breen just disgusted with some of Jordan Clarkson's shot selection, but hey, that's who he is. That's what you live with if you're rostering Clarkson. A couple guys at the top to just check for in your leagues. 2 guys who, for the most part, have been down this season, but have played well lately. Both Trayce Jackson Davis, I should say, in Golden State, and Donte DiVincenzo for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I had DiVincenzo in a bunch of leagues early in the season, ended up dropping him in some of those. Didn't have a ton of Jackson Davis exposure, but those were 2 guys, 2.5 weeks ago, I was pretty much ready to be done with, and all of a sudden, they're back and they're producing.
They're playing better now. I'm not, I don't think they'll necessarily reach the heights that we thought they might at before the season, but certainly guys worth looking at if you're in a standard league. I will say, you're right off the bat, I don't want to bury the lead too much, but Jaden Ivey broke his leg last night, so I think you gotta go ahead and add like Ausar Thompson, Malik Beasley if those guys are available. Those are shallower league options, and then if you're in like a deeper to standard league, you might want to explore like Marcus Sasser, Tim Hardaway, Ron Holland.
Yeah,
but I have less confidence in those 3 guys.
Yeah, and obviously we haven't really gotten a sample of what this Pistons rotation sans Ivy will look like. Best case scenario is he would be back at the very end of the season. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we probably see him to begin the 2025-26 campaign, but I think you laid it out well. I mean, I saw Malik Beasley is still available in like almost 80% of ESPN leagues, right? I mean, he should absolutely be rostered. And I think some of those other younger players that you mentioned, someone like a Ron Holland specifically, who we've seen some flashes every now and then. I thought he might be kind of like this season's Cam Whitmore, somebody who's like, when he's out there, he's just firing up shots, and it hasn't necessarily been the case. He had the one big splash game, I think it was against Boston early in December, but other than that, just hasn't had quite enough opportunity. But we'll see if the Ivy injury opens that up. I think Beasley and Hardaway are the first 2 guys, and then hopefully you can get the defensive numbers out of Ausar Thompson. As we go a little bit deeper, Alex, I feel like I repeat so many of the same names every week, but the same guys tend to be available in the leagues that I play in. I'm still looking at Donovan Clingnan. I know the blocks have dried up a little bit of late, but what was on that crazy streak to begin the year of having at least 1 block in double-digit games. Lonzo Ball, if you're in a deep enough league, I picked him up in our 16-teamer. You're always worried about the availability. You're always worried about the next injury, but the numbers have been pretty solid for him. And then, somebody who I'm pretty interested in right now, given that Luka Doncic is going to miss at least 3 more weeks and maybe more, Quentin Grimes has been playing well. 17-5-3, 11-7-3, 15-6-3 over his last 3 games, as a block in all 3 of those as well.
I had Lonzo on my deep league watch list. He's basically doing everything but scoring. Played a season high 26 minutes the other night. Yeah, and I'm surprised Grimes. I mean, Grimes is 17% rostered only in Yahoo leagues, and with Doncic out for so long, I'm kind of surprised that's so low. But you're mostly streaming him in for 3s anyway. But he can have some nice games on the glass as well.
A couple other boring, dependable names for deep leagues. Duncan Robinson, if you need 3s, he's always out there. Corey Kispert is still available in a ton of leagues. If you're looking for steals, Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, of course, still out for OKC. And then Kris Dunn, continues to play pretty significant minutes for the LA Clippers, giving you a few assists, but really you're targeting the steals there as well. I want to talk about the Brooklyn Nets overall. I feel like we do like a Nets or Pelicans feature just about weekly in these videos. And we've had some changes in Brooklyn. D'Angelo Russell now in the mix. Dorian Finney-Smith out. He's now with the Lakers. I think Noah Clowney is the big one. I know you already rostered him in a bunch of leagues. In competitive, deeper formats, he's probably not out there. But Keon Johnson and Jalen Williams are the two guys I'm looking at most closely.
Those guys have been interesting. I gotta be honest, I've been kind of disappointed in Clowney. He's just not doing as much as I would like, especially on defense. Hasn't been too efficient. So, but Keon Johnson, I mean, obviously the Nets go ahead and they've added D'Angelo Russell, but I still think, you ship out Dorian Finney-Smith, you need wings. So Keon Johnson as an off-ball wing and Jalen Wilson. It's just we'll see how it ends up. I mean, I have Day'Ron Sharpe on my list. Like someone put him on your watch list if you're in a deeper league as well.
Yeah, I think of the guys that I mentioned, like Keon Johnson, I'm a little bit more interested in. Like he's at least put up numbers when the minutes have been there. And you look at Jalen Wilson, the minutes have kind of been there all season for him, somewhat on and off. He made a handful of starts in late November, early December. He's now played 30 plus minutes in 5 straight games. He's not even averaging 10 points per game in that span. They only just got Russell into the mix yesterday against Toronto. So it has been kind of empty calories for him where the minutes have been there, but there hasn't been that much fantasy production. But Brooklyn could be another team, where there's another move or two coming before the deadline. So certainly want to keep an eye on them. Cam Whitmore, to me, I'm just jumping around all over here. Speculative ad in deeper leagues. Tari Eason is injured. He's missed 7 games in a row. We've seen Cam Whitmore back from the G League in that Houston rotation. As we always talk about, I mean, he had like a Paul George usage rate last season. When he's out there, he's going to chuck shots. He's going to put up numbers. It's just a matter of how long is Eason out? Because I think once Tari Eason is back healthy, maybe Whitmore is still holding on to a little piece of that rotation, but probably not enough to be relevant. I'm just not really sure what's going on with Eason. Sounded like he had a chance to return for their last game, and I hope this doesn't turn into something like last year.
I hope so too. People already rostering Ausar Thompson are getting a boost there. Whitmore's all points, right? So if you don't need points, you probably don't need to add Whitmore and drop someone that you're using. I will say too, someone who is benefiting from Eason out, but will obviously still be in the rotation. And when he comes back, Dillon Brooks his usage rate has increased significantly with Tari Eason out. He's taking like 14, 15 shots a game, averaging 19 points over his past 8 games. Good rebounding, nice stocks. So someone who I think is a little bit under rostered right now at 28% on Yahoo.
Mm-hmm. Another name who jumped out to me in the Western Conference, John Konchar. And this comes with the caveat that as long as Ja Morant is out, I am comfortable picking up and maybe even starting John Konchar. He started the last 2 games with Morant out of the lineup, played 34 and 36 minutes, gave you 27 total rebounds over those 2 games, as well as 5 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. Now, Memphis is without a bunch of guys. They've been down Marcus Smart for the last few games. He's going to miss another week plus. So we're not talking about somebody in Konchar who you pick up and he's just on your roster the rest of the way. But I think there could be a nice 1 or 2 week run here.
It's really easy for somebody to look at Konchar's rebounding and be like, that's totally fake. That's an anomaly. And it's like, it is, but he's also averaging 8.5 rebounds per 36 for his career. Like he is actually a good rebounder. So keep that in mind. And then I also have Luke Kennard on my list. I mean, you mentioned Marcus Smart and John Morant out. We saw Kennard last year. He's going to hit, if he plays 30 minutes, he's going to hit 3 or 4 threes for you on 40% because he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. And he's improved as a playmaker. He's averaging about 4.5 assists over the past handful of games.
So my list is pretty much dry here, Alex. Anyone else you want to empty out of the clip?
Just a few. I will say Scoot Henderson, 30% roster in Yahoo. You kind of have to mention him because his steals and blocks and assists are up. He had 2 nice scoring games. Adam, if he keeps playing well, keep him. If he doesn't, drop him. I'm not committed to that. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope on a nice stretch. Way more involved now with the amount of injuries Orlando has been piling up, averaging 13 points, 3 assists, and 2.7 stocks over the past 7 games. I would entertain buying back in on Bub Carrington. He's 8% roster on Yahoo if you're in a deep league. Trade deadline's coming up next month. Might be a good stash opportunity. And then Kel'el Ware is actually just in the rotation. So that's big for deep leagues. So if you're in a 16 teamer, I would at least think about that if you need big man stats.
I like it. I like it a lot. I thought about putting Ware on my list. I think Miami's certainly a team that could be active at the deadline. Do they make a move that like clears more time in that rotation for Ware? I'm not really sure. I don't know if they think he's ready for that, but either way, somebody who should be a per minute contributor if the workload is there. That's going to do it for our waiver wire ads in the NBA this week. Make sure if you're enjoying these videos, you give them a like. Make sure you're subscribed to the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball channel. You can find all of our videos in season, out of season, draft content, whatever you want here at RotoWire Fantasy Basketball. You can also find all of our podcasts live and archived on the YouTube channel. So again, make sure you're subscribed. Go check out rotowire.com/try, TRY. Free access to everything on our site, including the RotoWire Picks tool, especially useful if you're playing on Prize Picks, Underdog. You get to all the comparisons between those shops, the sports books. Really great tool, rotowire.com/picks.